You ready, Charlie Villanueva?
Okay. All right, you got me. You got me on that one. You got me on that one. I don't got no comeback right now. Got no comeback right now. That was a good one. Welcome to another episode of the Elevated Barbers Podcast. We are here today. We have a very special guest that's going to give you some really good insights on how to use social media to grow your brand, grow your business, as well as move forward in the new era of barbering. So let's get started with the show.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Again, my name is Bradford Kelly. I am the owner of Another Level of Barbering, and I'm also the proud co-host of the one, the only Elevated Barbers Podcast. And I am here with...
This is Delmar, aka The Prince, owner of Royal Luxe Grooming and the co-host of the one and only Elevated Barbers Podcast, helping all barbers tuning in to elevate in their life. Let's go.
That was such a beautiful intro, man. We have a very, very special guest with us today. I have a lot of jokes that I wanted to say about Delmar, but I'm gonna hold off, and we're gonna focus on the business of barbering today. We're gonna go into how to grow your business, and the way that we're gonna do this is we are going to bring on AI DEXTER himself. That's not his real name. His name is Al DEXTER. Bring him on.
Right on.
I like the intro, Charlie Villanueva.
Yeah, so he keep trying to roast me, talking about I look like Charlie Villanueva, but that's not true. I'm definitely not that light skinned. All right,
we're gonna put up side by side.
Hey, you guys need to crop that one in for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Put a jersey on Brad.
Yeah. He ain't got no facial hair though. He out there. His whole face is gone.
That's all right. We gonna put up an old picture of you with no facial hair.
I did have that look too, huh? Oh man. All right, man. So anyways, DEXTER, man, I want to just go ahead and get started real quick because your story is powerful, to say the least. The way that I got exposed to you was when this is what I assume. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Shannon or S-Craft Blends put out a post that said, if you are willing to invest, then I will share your story or share a post that you want me to share. And, you know, different people, they invested or whatever, they did some stuff, but you picked the best video that you could have ever picked when it comes to like social media, because it told your story, your why. It brought me in. I was like, who is this person? And I want to follow the journey, right? So if you don't mind, man, give a little bit of history, give your real name. I called you AI DEXTER. That's not what it is, but give your real name, give a little bit about who you are, and yeah, just bless us.
Yeah, right on. Well, first, I just want to thank you guys both, Brad and Delmar, for having me on here. I know it's been kind of a process to get me on, so I appreciate your guys' patience and understanding in regards to all of that. It really does mean a lot, and I'm really excited to be here and for this opportunity. This is the first time I've ever been asked to do anything like this, so
wow.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot. This has been a fun year and a lot of year for growth. But to really get into it, yeah, that's really funny. I didn't realize that's how you ended up learning about my page or my Instagram. Is through Shannon. Yeah. So Unks right there, he made that post, and I remember I was like, man, I want to capitalize on this. And really, my thought process behind that wasn't even to necessarily get my brand or my Instagram out there. It was to try to network with him. I wanted to slide into his DMs. I was like, this is $50. Easy opportunity to get to know him. As a fellow believer and Christian myself, I've always looked up to him when I was in barber school watching his videos. So I thought it would be a cool idea to connect with him. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was really torn between that video and then just another like haircut video or something like that. And I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna drop, it was $50. If I'm gonna drop $50, I'm just gonna go all out. And I'm glad I ended up with that video. I actually asked Shannon, I was like, which video should I do? And he was like, dude, do that first one, man. That's a great video.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I cut here in Manteca, California. I just opened up my own studio this year, and I've been a barber for 4 years, and really just been trying to scale my business and grow my business. And my brand is called the 180 Cut. And I came up with that name about 4 years ago, and I was really torn between Dexter's Laboratory and the 180. And my girlfriend, who's my fiance now, I asked her, and she was like, "Man, both of those are cringe, but if I had to pick one, I would say the 180 Cut." You know, like, okay, that's good. And my story behind the 180 Cut, and it's kind of evolving. Why I decided with that name is I pictured a client coming into my chair looking one way, and then after they get a haircut, they do a 180, and they
nice.
And that's really kind of evolved now to more of a lifestyle change. You know what I mean? Now that I'm using my platform to really help barbers scale their business and to grow their social media accounts, so they don't have to be stuck behind the chair. They can create opportunities for themselves. It's really changing their career around, doing a complete 180 and using barbering to better themselves.
Yeah, I've noticed your activity, and from my perspective, it seems like you've blown up over the course of maybe the last 6 months, and probably more even aggressively over like the last 2 months.
Yes,
just like an immense amount of following. But the value that you have provided the industry, it's like you found your niche. And you ran with it, man. Like you went all in with it. How did you get to doing this? Because when I saw the post, you weren't in that space. You weren't trying to grow your brand, at least that I'm aware of. But over the next couple months, it like grew into this. And now you're like a full-fledged, I'm going to help you build your business through social media guy.
Yeah.
So how did that transition happen?
Right. And that's funny that you mentioned that, because it's like you said, it was a quick shift and a change. And it went from realizing that I could try to grow my business from behind the chair, and scale my prices. And I did scale my prices this year. I was able to double my prices while using social media. And it got me to $60 a haircut, $75 a haircut and beard groom. And that was really awesome to be able to do that and still generate new clients. But I got to a point where I was feeling like kind of unfulfilled, and kind of guilty, feeling a little bad. I'm like, man, and I know it's a whole mindset thing. There's barbers that charge 80, 100, 120, 150. And more often than not, they're worth it because of their skill set, because the time they put in, because of just who they are as an individual. But I started being like, man, I don't feel like I'm that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with that being said, that video that you talked about with Shannon, my whole goal and my premise has been to be able to scale my income to $15K a month, right? Yeah. I thought throughout my journey that would be by cutting hair and scaling my prices to $100, $150, cutting a specific amount of people. That's how I was going to make my $15K a month. Yeah. And then I came to a realization that there were people that were looking at my posts and were inspired by them, and they were asking me how I did that. How do I do that? And I started to feel more fulfilled by helping other barbers accomplish the same thing and make those same type of videos. Wow, I'm getting already clients who are interested in that. Why not go ahead, go all in? And to kind of talk about the new era of barbering, it's not my personal company. It's actually Daniel Contreras, he was based out of Sacramento. He's now in Miami. But I joined his
Deluxe. If y'all don't know who he's talking about Deluxe on Instagram at Deluxe.
Yeah. So Deluxe, I hired him as my mentor. I paid for his program, and that's what really got the ball rolling on how to scale my prices and my business. And then I had the opportunity to partner with him and work with his company, and it's been an absolute blast, and really changing my focus from that, growing my business from behind the chair to trying to grow my brand and try to grow alongside the new era and to help other barbers do the same thing, scale their business.
See, now this is, I don't know how to say it, if it's right or wrong, or it just is what it is. Brilliant move by Daniel to have you on his team. You are familiar with the Marv Interview.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about the Marv interview, bro. Everybody knows about the Marv. It was a very controversial interview. It got a lot of attention. I mean, I believe both parties benefited from it. but definitely Marvy Marv threw a lot of, well, he didn't throw shade, but the interview threw shade on Deluxe and his program. And there was some people in the chat that I mean they also weren't helping, you know, throwing in a whole bunch of eagles inside the chat. You know, it was like I don't know if that was a bot or not, but it just didn't come off great. I just put it like that. It didn't come off great. And Daniel as an individual, he didn't come off great. You know, the way that he kind of carried himself in that specific interview, not everything, but in that specific interview, he didn't seem like he cared a lot about the industry, the people. Like the way he answered, it was almost as if he wanted to be controversial. Like it seemed like he desired that for that moment. So I think if that was his goal, he was very successful. It created
Stephen
a lot
A.
of
Smith.
or Skip. Like
Skip Bayless.
Probably to Skip on that one. But partnering with you and others, I've seen others as well that have like really championed his brand that are not the same personality type. Like they don't have the same energy that was depicted in that specific interview. I think it was a brilliant move. And that's from just like a business standpoint. Like you want to partner with people that's going to benefit you. But for you as an individual, and this is not to plug his program, because me personally, I didn't go to his program. I was looking at it. For me, I kind of felt like you did, Dexter, where I was just like, I don't feel like I'm that guy to go into that space, not because I don't feel like I'm worth that much. It's just a different space you're in, and you're kind of limited to how many people you can really serve consistently at that price range. And me, I'm about relationships. I'm about, you know, building long lasting relationships. I'm not into, and so the way that it was marketed to me, whatever. But for you as an individual, Christian background, very humble within yourself. You remind me a lot of like Delmar, right? Like you're somebody that is about your skill set. You care about the industry. You care about your clients, but you also care about your future. You care about your household. You care about where you're trying to go in life. What made you commit to investing in the new era of barbering for yourself as an individual, as the student?
Man, dude, that is such an interesting take, and I love how you brought up Marvy Marv and Deluxe, because watching that, I was like, man, bro, Daniel is really going like he's channeling his Andrew Tate. You know what I mean? He's trying and it's hilarious because he really does come off that way. He's very aggressive and he's about his business for sure.
Right.
But I've realized now, as I've partnered, and even as he was my mentor, and partnering him even now and having weekly calls with him, Zoom calls, at least twice a week with him, getting to know his heart and his passion for the industry, I know it really does come off that way. And he is still trying to figure out how he wants to brand himself. And I think you can kind of see that in his social media now. He's kind of toned that down a lot.
Yeah, he toned it down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's super helpful. He's super helpful. This is how I would do a post now. Okay. You know, it was hard for me at first, especially realizing like, man, this is a lot to dedicate myself to. But what I realized is, as I looked at the heart of a man, there was a lot of things that I didn't necessarily have the same character or specific moral values as him. But there was one thing that I really connected with him with, and that was helping other barbers get out of the barber rat race, helping other people achieve a better version of themselves that they never thought they would be able to accomplish. And changing that limiting mindset of, you know, man, these were the cards that I was dealt in life, and this is what I am as a barber, and there's no way to really get out of it. And I guess I'm just gonna have to avoid my taxes. I guess I'm, you know, all these different things. And he really gelled towards that. And I think part of the reason why he has that such a hard nature towards him is, first of all, he is about his business, but really he understands and knows, like, if you just get out of your head about this stuff, you can grow. And how he goes about it and how he communicates that sometimes is a little rough. And I don't necessarily go that route. Again, I am from a Christian background, so I'm a little bit more like, hey, pat him on the back and then like, well, we can tweak that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that's the reason why he brought me on, honestly. honestly, it was something that I prayed a lot about, and I have a piece about to being part of his team. And I hope that it is a long-lasting relationship, that I'm able to grow his business as well as grow my brand and help him out in any way I can. And that's the way I look at it. And I love working with him and his team. Somebody that I work really closely with, his name is Sino, and he's another coach on there. And I love being able to just work with all these people and helping barbers elevate their careers. Truly.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah. Dexter, talk a little bit about just being a positive influence in the barbering space. You mentioned that you're a Christian barber, and I also follow Hawk the Barber, who's out in Atlanta, and also Shannon. I've chatted with him a few times. But I know like both of them, they just create such a positive space because the barbering industry is very ego driven, right? So, but it's good to see that there are people like a Dexter, a Brad, a Shannon, Hawk the Barber, who put out positivity into the industry too, that people can look to. And when younger barbers are coming into the industry, they don't have to follow the pattern of being ego driven. You know, you can still be professional. You can still have, you know, the big following while being positive. Just speak a little bit about that, Dexter.
Yeah. Well, first I would like to say you got to include yourself in there as well, Delmar.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, second of all, definitely, one of the things that for me is I went to Bible college before, and I'm still really involved in my church ministries. And I've grown up from I don't want to say completely broken home, but a home that was very hard to live in, and a lot of things going on with my parents and a lot of things that we had to see growing up. For me, it's always been people who impacted me from my church, who impacted me and were positive outlooks, people who became my father figures, who told me how to become a man when my father wasn't there, how to treat a lady when I didn't have the best examples. And for me, doing that now with barbering is really just channeling what those people instilled in me and what God has given me, and trying to instill that into other people and impact other people in that same way. Obviously, being in that, we're going to resonate with some people, and then we're going to turn some people completely off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But for me, that is very important to me. My priorities have always been to honor God, to take care of my family, and then to take care of my friends, take care of my church, and then it's me and my business and supporting that. That's always been a priority for me. And I try to, I'm not perfect, but I try to, in every aspect of my life, try to keep those priorities in check and remember the reasons why I'm doing and the opportunities that God has given me. And I think that helps me a lot. Try to stay positive, because oftentimes it's tough when you're on social media and seeing these goobers commenting or saying stuff. You know what I mean? It's real easy to just get in that flesh and be like, all right, let me just bite back real quick and call him Charlie or something like that. I don't know. That's my response to that. I think having a positive atmosphere has always impacted my life for the better more than the negative, and I try to do the same thing and help other people who resonate in that same way.
No, I appreciate what you just said, man, because I can attest to that. Just getting in the industry and getting a little bit of an ego myself, not in such a way as, you know, looking down on people, but just like making money my priority, you know, and forgetting my why I'm doing this, and, you know, what's the importance of, you know, being able to do what I'm able to do. And man, I kind of got lost for a second. Brad can attest to that. We kind of lost connection a little bit just because I was just so much into myself. But then, you know, things begin to happen, and, you know, I start to view life in a different way. And, you know, I always want to be positive, but not forgetting my why, like you just mentioned. Like, man, I don't have any of this without, you know, God. And not to get religious or anything like that, but just I know, you know, what I believe in. And, correct, you know, prayer has definitely helped me in my career and just, you know, being a man too. And I know, you know, Brad, we share like faith.
Yeah, we all do. And to really count on that, it's not necessarily just our faith, right? I really think as people, as human beings, there's 4 pillars to success, right? If we can spiritually grow, if we can physically grow, if we can mentally grow, and we can master socially growing, and those 4 pillars, if we master those 4 pillars, we can become successful human beings. And from a spiritual standpoint, it doesn't necessarily have to be what we believe in or anything like that, but it's an understanding that that there is something out there that is bigger than us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It humbles us in a sense, and truly realizing like there are things that are grander than us, and we are just really a speck in time, but realizing that we are blessed to have that speck in time and be able to do something and leave a lasting impact in other people who will be in other separate specks of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you really focus on that pillar of growth spiritually, everything else just falls into line so easily.
Yeah, definitely.
It goes to that scripture where it talks about where it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all of these other things will be added to you. It's like when you really have that true North Star, and different people have a different North Star. Ours is the Lord. But when you have a true sense of purpose, you understand your sense of why, then it allows your steps to be ordered in a way where you can always be going towards your goal, And so I think those 4 pillars that you mentioned were really, really good.
Solid.
Solid, because I think, there's always going to be 4 corners to a foundation. So if you're trying to build anything of success, you want to try and look at it from a holistic standpoint. And the number 4 is always a good way to look at things. I wanted to bring this out though about what you said, and this is key because a lot of people don't realize the importance of environment, and you spoke about it from a little bit of the household standpoint, right, where you was growing up and you didn't have the best environment, but then how because of your church community you were able to see a different environment, and that environment was able to impact you. Now that you're older and you're in this industry, you realize being in this industry, like Delmar said, this can be a very egotistical industry. It's a very vain industry. It's a very self-centered industry. We're in an industry that promotes a lot of things that is about you at the end of the day. And that's how we actually get paid. Like we're serving people in vanity, in a space of vanity. But when you think about the environment of your mind, and you think about the environment that you are able to create because you bring your mind to whatever, and you're in a position of power as a barber. Dexter, if you don't mind, speak to the ability to create environment. And you do that on social media. You do that wherever you go, right? You're going to bring you wherever you go. Mm-hmm. So if you're not aware of the environment that you create, then you'll be probably upset with the environment that you're in because you don't know the impact that you have, right? So can you speak a little bit about that? Because I can tell you're a very intentional person. You don't just by happenstance do things. Like you said, you prayed about going into business with Daniel, and prayed about going to the class and took the class and all that stuff. So you're very intentional. So when you think about this industry, kind of speak to a little bit about the power of it creating an environment, because it works with social media and it works with life.
Yeah, 100%. I've always been a vision person. I like looking at something, and like that's my goal. The hard thing for me is always, okay, what are the steps? What's the path to get to that goal, right? That's where I really struggle with. And to Delmar's point, when he mentioned earlier, I had a 2-year point where I was an apprentice, where I really lost myself, and I felt myself slipping from my characters and my morals. And to kind of tie those two together, where I was feeling like I was blessed, man. I was working at one of the busiest shops in Manteca, and I was cutting around 15 to 18 people a day, working 4 to 5 days. I was making the most money I ever made in my life, but I really saw that work-life balance take a toll on me, right?
Yeah.
Not only from my coworkers, and this is no knock on my coworkers, but you know how it is. You become like a family, and there's people that give energy, and there's people that take energy.
Yeah.
I was really surrounded with a lot of people who were taking energy away from me and kind of killing the vibe in the sense. And I kind of went from the apprentice to the shop manager, who was the guy that nobody knew how to talk to the shop owner except for me. So then everybody would come to me for the problems. And it was kind of upsetting because I was making the most money I ever had made in my life, but yet my family was falling apart. My parents were falling apart. My siblings were doing their own things. I haven't talked to my brother in months at times. You know what I mean? I was cutting hair and taking days off of church, and that was always super important for me, and losing touch with my ministries that I have there, and not really feeling connected in that sense. And then I was coming home beat, angry, and I was getting upset at my girlfriend, my fiance now, and taking a lot of anger and stuff out on her or on other family members or my friends. And I just saw that really shift and fall apart. And it's like you said, Brad, you have a self-awareness in yourself, and you're kind of like, man, if I keep going down this path, this is where it's going to take me. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize that at the time when I was the apprentice, that was the path I was taking. It was taking me on. You know, it was just literally a little sliver to the right, and then a year goes by and it's way further out, and then 2 years, and now I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I really need to see a chiropractor and correct this, man, or else it's going to be all bad. And it's really coming to a self-awareness, and once you have that self-awareness, then it really becomes, are you going to act on that now? You have a decision to make, and you can decide, and both decisions are hard. You can decide to stay where you're at and one day I'll work it out, or you can make a plan of attack and get organized and figure out a blueprint to get you back to where you know you need to be. And that's kind of where it came from. And it was hard, man, because like I said, that barbershop was family. I was the apprentice, and it was a really tough thing for me to break away from that, because they became brothers to me and they became sisters. But I knew that it was best for me to scale my price. I knew it was best for me to move to my own studio, because that would set my mind up mentally to be in a better place to take care of the people and not that I didn't care about those people, but my family, to take care of my loved ones, and to really bring that work-life balance together. And I'll say this, something that always stuck with me at Bible college that one of our pastors used to say was, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And what I saw was, in the friends that I made in those past 2 years, they were great friends. I laughed with them, but the future that they were building for me and I was building for myself by hanging around them wasn't the future I wanted. So I started to realize I need to not only intentionalize what I'm going to do in my head, but I need to intentionalize who I hang around with and surround myself with. So I hope that kind of answered the question.
That answers the question outstandingly. I think, like, when you were speaking, I thought about two different words that are closely similar, but you have friendship and then you have fellowship, right? And those two words, sometimes they can feel like they're intermingled, but they're definitely separate words. But both of the words have the word ship in it. And I always look at ship as something that's trying to take you from one location to another location, right? And it matters who you call your fellows, and it matters who you call your friends, because those people are going to influence you one way or another. And like you said, like, people give good energy and they can also give bad energy. They can take from you, or they can deposit into you, one way or the other. And it's you have to realize, as an individual, as a person, as a human being, that you have the power to control the circle of influence that you have around you. You have that power, and if you don't exercise that power, then that power will overwhelm you, right? Because you're not taking control. So you'll be a victim of your circumstances. You'll be a victim of the environments that you allow yourself to be in, when you really could make a change. Like Dexter was saying, like, it might be a little bit difficult to cut some people off that you need to cut off so that you can get further. It might be a little bit difficult to, cut off the spending that you're spending so that you can save, so that you can get to where you're trying to go. But it all comes down to intent, and it all comes down to you choosing to be the CEO of your own destiny at some point, right? At some point, you got to take ownership of that. So Delmar, I know you probably want to speak a little bit on that, because you were in that same space and you had to make a shift. And what kind of was it like for you when you think about environment, like the environment of your mind and the personal decision you had to make to make a shift, make a change? How was it for you?
Man, I wavered with it for some time, and this was during the pandemic. And I had been in a shop environment for maybe 7-8 years at the time, or 9 years at the time. And I always, every year, I took myself to a new level. I was always trying to grow. But then, when you doing the same thing every day repetitively, and then, you sometimes you're around the same people, or just in your mind, you might be stuck. That's what it was for me. I got stuck inside my mind. I felt like I wasn't growing anymore. and I always challenge myself. But at this point, it was like, like Dexter said, man, I'm scaling my prices every year. Some people falling off, but I'm gaining new people. It's like, man, I can't just keep doing that. Eventually, I'm gonna price out, right? Or just, whatever. And I was like, I need something new. I need something refreshing because at this point, I'm getting burnt out just mentally. And then, like I said, I wavered with the idea of getting into the studio space. Brad, I, had the opportunity to intern with you for a couple months, and you kind of had a studio set up. I was like, man, that'd be pretty cool if I can do something like that. And then, I did like Dexter said, I prayed about it because I didn't want to just make a emotional decision or just a decision because I'm frustrated with what's going on here mentally. And I was able to talk with you, Brad. I pitched the idea to you. It was like, man, like your reasoning for doing this, your motive for doing this is solid. It's good. Then I ended up talking to a mentor of mine, and he was, saying things. So it's like, I believe in 2 or 3.
Yeah. About 2 or 3.
Out of 2 or 3. So it was like confirmation for me that I was headed in the right direction with making this move. And like you said, Dexter, like, man, when you work with people, you build like a family bond. Like, as me being a shop owner, I always wanted to see every guy who came in my shop be successful. Me and my brother's shop, I wanted everybody to be successful. And eventually, if you wanted to one day get your own shop, you don't have to be stuck here at this shop, but I'm here for anything that you need, if it's advice or just, need some structure or whatever. So it was hard walking away from that. I was a shop owner for 7, almost 8 years, but at the same time, I couldn't be fearful of this next step because I knew it was going to, bring me peace of mind too for what I was dealing with. I don't know what happened, Dexter.
Oh, I don't know. Just disconnected just for a second, but I heard everything you said, man.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna pick it back up. So just, giving me peace of mind with things that I was dealing with mentally, but just getting in a new space, anything that's new can be fearful. Anything that's outside your comfort zone can be fearful, but I choose not to live in a state of fear. So I took on the challenge, and like I said, man, it's been a blessing ever since.
Right on, man. I love to hear that, man. I love that story, bro. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so good to see a person, anybody, make a decision, and then after the decision is made, you find peace, right? Like it's nothing more rewarding than that. And it's crazy because we've kind of been mentioning a little bit about burnout in this talk and conversation. And one thing that I think leads to a lot of burnout is when you don't have purpose. Right. When you're doing the same thing all the time, like you said, it's like it becomes like a vicious circle in your mind, and you have to learn how to create new purpose. And I think goals are a huge reason or a huge thing that you can use to give yourself some purpose. And sometimes it might have to be outside of your norm, and kind of like what Dexter did, how you were in the studio and you were cutting hair, you were making really good money, but you shifted into this social media space. So I want you to, if you don't mind, go into if you don't mind sharing, and I don't think you do because you share so much on Instagram, so you good.
Yeah, not at all.
So what is your approach to helping barbers grow their social media brand? You spoke a little bit about it, about how to use social media not to be stuck behind the chair, but what is the essence behind it? Like where are you getting it from, and then what are some of the things that you're teaching so that people can understand what to do?
Yeah. So what I'm teaching is I'm teaching other barbers how to market themselves to other clients, either in the city or surrounding cities, to help them scale their business and how to really show their work and get the most bang for your buck per view, if you will, and really, I think why I don't have a hard time sharing the knowledge is because I know that there's people that are going to have the knowledge and they're not going to do anything with it. Then there's people that are going to have the knowledge and they're like, okay, this is cool, I'm going to go do something. And then I know there's going to be people who are just like me. This is how I am. It's like I can get the knowledge and I can try to piece it together, you know what I mean? But it's better if I just have a blueprint and someone to coach me and teach me and mentor me to go along the way. I'm very much that person where I I'm not afraid to, if I'm lost on the road, I'm not afraid to pull over and be like, hey, bro, I don't know where I'm going. I'm not that.
Yeah.
No, we're just going to keep driving until we get there. I rather learn from other people's experiences and other people's mistakes and successes, and then implement that into myself as well. So what I do is I try to help barbers understand that they can market themselves. This stuff is doable. And I kind of want to encourage them with that. And how I really do that is just by telling barbers that they need to start making reels consistently. As we know, it's just a snowball effect, right? With social media, really, it's those who are consistent win, right? A lot of people think it's a race for success. It's really a marathon. You know, you're not waiting to blow up for a viral video. You're waiting for everybody else who was in your niche, everybody else who was posting videos to stop posting videos, because then you're going to be the only person out there making content. And that's really what I try to do, is I try to tell barbers and help barbers and tell them like, hey, you know, what you can do is you can do a before and then you can do an after. And if you get all the editing down, if you get the recording down, that can translate to 2 to 3 new clients a week. That just find you through social media, and then that can scale. And now if you have 5 to 10 new clients that are coming to you just from your Instagram every single week, you can scale your price, right? If you charge $30 a haircut, but you're getting 10 new clients a week from social media, you can jump to, you don't have to make a $5 jump or a $10 jump even. You can make a jump to $20 and you'll still be okay as long as you're consistently posting on social media, right? Because when people look at that, they're not looking and they're like, that's a $30 cut. They're just looking like, oh, that looks really good, man. Right. I want that haircut. My barber can't do that. I've been going to here, and they can't do that. So they don't care about the price, right? What you're always doing, or what people are always doing in marketing, is you're telling people, letting consumers know that there's a problem and you are the solution to that problem. That's how business works, right? Yeah. So as barbers, we get really stuck in our head, like, oh man, that doesn't look good, or oh my, this cook doesn't look good, or this client, or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have the clientele for that. But really, if you use social media, you can build that clientele to get that. And oftentimes we get stuck behind, what is this barber going to think? Or what is so-and-so going to think? Or this isn't on par with other barbers' social media posts or something like that. And then we just stop doing. We just get so caught up in our head that we stop doing. Yeah. But in reality, there is a demographic of people that look at your haircut, that went to maybe a salon, or they maybe went to a Supercuts and Great Clips, and they just didn't have the best experience. And they're going to look at that haircut that you think is mediocre, that other people might think is mediocre, but they're going to look and they'll be like, man, I'll pay $40 for that haircut right there. And you just need to find that demographic. And if you consistently post on social media and consistently get better at making videos on social media, it's that snowball effect. And you'll find your clientele and you'll find your niche for sure.
So, oh no, go ahead, D. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I like how he said that that it's not a race, it's a marathon. Yeah. And I needed to hear that, because I have not been motivated or inspired to create any content. And I just made a post about this on my story last week. But you know, you can build your clientele, and that's how I built my clientele to what it is now, through social media. Like, I didn't come up in the word of mouth era. I missed that. I'm glad I did, because I was able to build my clientele faster than what, you know, I would have if it was just word of mouth and going passing out cards. But it's so true what you're saying, and I think it's important for up and coming barbers to hear that, you know, just be consistent. You know, don't be in your own head and say, oh, this don't look good. Look, I'm one to tell you that when I first started posting, like when I go back and look at my posts from 2012 and 13, I'm like, man, I posted that. You know, in real time, I'm like, man, that looked really good. But I'm going back and looking at it and see how I developed. I'm like, man, I can't believe I posted that. But clients can appreciate seeing your progress. Yeah. And see your growth. Like we was talking about on our previous episode, Brad, like just being authentic. Be authentic to your growth too. Yeah. Like don't Instagram is a highlight reel. Yeah. People get in the social media game when it comes to barbering and beauty industry. And they feel like my first picture, photo, reel, or whatever, it has to look like a S-Craft. It has to look like the 180 cut. It has to look like a Brad. No, that's not true. Just keep posting your work. Somebody sees it. Somebody appreciates it. Yeah. And then, you know, they'll appreciate your growth too. So I appreciate what you just said.
Yeah. Now, I got a question of both of y'all, because I did not grow up in the social media, get your clientele world. I grew up in the word of mouth world, and plus me, I'm just not a fan of technology. technology like that. Like I'm real Flintstones when it comes to like just social media and all this kind of stuff. I've gotten a lot better
though.
I've gotten a lot better in the last 6 months, 8 months. But I'm still not even great at it at all. But I realized for things that I'm trying to do that I have to be on social media and I have to post consistently so that, like you said, I can start to get my brand out there. People can kind of start to get to know me. But I'm a people person, man. Like I didn't look at social media as social. I looked at social media as be on there and be fake. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what I looked at it as. But over the last 6 months, I've noticed a lot of my skill set when it comes to connecting with people can be done online, and I have to take advantage of that so that I can continue to grow in what I'm doing. But my question to you all is for the barbers that are seeking to grow their business on social media, it has to be more than just be consistent. Like it has to be more than just keep posting. And there's a lot of people that post daily and they don't get traction. And on top of that, it's not with followers, it's about the money. So how do you get clients through social media? Because I personally have never done it and been successful, and therefore I personally said I don't care about social media and getting clients through that. My goal now is to speak to barbers through social media because that's who I see, and the type of clientele that I do have, they're not on social media looking for barbers. You know what I mean? Like that's not the group that I find. So who do you get from social media, and then how do you get clients through that? And that's to both of y'all because y'all both did it.
Yeah. Did you want to go first, Delmar?
You're our guest, so go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Give me 1 second.
He about to go super deep. He about to go super deep.
I'm trying to picture where I'm going with this, right? So I'm in the same realm as you now, Brad. I'm really focused towards helping barbers do the same thing. But being in that spirit just so recently, you're right. There's a sweet science to it, man. It is a crazy science, and there's so many different ways to go about doing it. But really, if you think of Instagram, what is Instagram? What is social media in general? Social media, what do they want from us? I mean, is they just want you to be on their platform and stay on their platform for the longest time. That's how they get their money. That's how they get their ads. That's how they are able to use their analytics and their data analytics and be able to get information about us. So they just want us to use their platform as much as possible. So what the algorithm will do is they'll go and they'll find people who are posting content, and they'll try to find a targeted audience for you. Like for instance, if you made a video, Brad and Delmar, about whatever on Instagram and you posted a reel, what they'll do is they'll showcase 80% of that video to the viewers that are already following you and everything like that. And then what they'll do is they'll switch to 20% of people who don't follow you but look like they're kind of interested in the same thing as your audience already. And what their Instagram is doing is they're looking and they're saying, hey, does this group of people that don't follow him, are they interacting with his content? Do they engage with it? Are they bookmarking it? Are they liking it? Are they leaving a comment? Now, if those people are engaged and they're really liking your content, then Instagram, what they're going to do is they're going to be like, you know what? That 20% of people, I'm sorry, man, they're both a lot over there. I apologize.
Okay, I was like, is somebody vacuuming? Like,
I'm sorry.
I thought a helicopter was over his house.
Yeah. Let me know. Is that too loud?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You good? We can still hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, guys. But they'll take that 20% and they'll really push that to even wider audience. That's how videos get viral, and that's how they get a wider reach, right? Like I had a video the other day, and it absolutely blew my mind, bro. It was how I use AI as a barber to get these results, and it was showcasing it. It was like a 7-8 second video, but it hit 1.4 million. I was like, holy cow, this is crazy, right? And the reason that is because I had people that weren't following me were engaging with it and commenting and wondering how to do the same thing. And Instagram is like I said, it's that snowball effect. So it's like the algorithm looks at that like, dude, these are keeping this many people engaged. Let's shoot this out to even more people, shoot it out to more people. And that's what you want to do as a barber. You want to channel that, right? As a barber, obviously your audience is going to be people who want to know how to get this haircut, whether it's an Edgar, whether it's a mullet or something like that. You got to find your niche of it. And videos that do really well nowadays that we're seeing are videos that are consultation videos. You know what I mean? You've probably seen those videos where it's like, I charge $75 for a haircut. What makes you keep coming back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Barbers, we as barbers are like, bro, this is so cringe, man. I hate this. Like, what's the point of this? But those people are really winning because they're realizing they don't care about what barbers think, or their audience that they're trying to target are everyday consumers. In a world where we live, where 70% of people find new products to bring into their household from the internet, they're winning because now they're really targeting that group of people. And what they're going to do is they're going to set themselves as the expert of the field. If you do a consultation video and you say, hey, what brought you in today? Man, my barber before, or I always have a hard time with my cowlick. And then the barber fixes that cowlick and they show that the end result, and the result is amazing. A consumer is going to look at that and they're going to be like, dude, I got that same problem with my cowlick and nobody seems to be able to fix it. This dude does. And then, oh, he's in my area. Oh, he says, click the link in my bio to book. Oh, it's $60. Well, that's a little bit more than what I paid, but he'll fix my problem that I have. So I'll go ahead and give it a shot. They go in there. Now it's like the client's retaining them. They're like you, Brad and Delmar, where they're able to retain the client because they know how to communicate with the client. But really, they're just using social media to get them into their door. And it's an upgraded version of word of mouth. It really is. That's all it is word of mouth, because people are going to share your videos and they're going to like your videos or show it to a friend. Look at this crazy transformation of this barber, you know what I mean? And that's how you really market yourself. And if you can hone in on that and take advantage of that, it's a hard learning curve, just like how it was for us to learn how to fade hair, how to use a razor, right? But when you really hone in on that and learn that skill set, it is invaluable to really get you where you want to be in business, in barbering.
Yeah. Now, I agree with everything that Dexter just said. To add to that, I would just say, make sure you're posting with a purpose. Like, know who you're talking to, know your targeted audience. If you're a barber who is trying to gain more clientele, then you should probably post more videos that are pertaining to solving problems, like Dexter just said. Or if you're in the space that Dexter or Bradford is in, where you're speaking to barbers, that's clientele too. You're just in a different demographic. So you just have to, like you said, know your niche, however you say it. Everybody say it differently. But just know your niche and, make sure you post them with a purpose. I know that's what I was doing. Like, my thing was, I could pass out cards. Cool. I was doing that on my slow time. But as I got busier, I couldn't go out and, physically pass out cards. But I was making it a point to post videos every day and engage with people that would comment. And then those people would send videos to their friends. And, that's how I built my clientele that way. So I appreciate technology.
Yeah.
I appreciate technology because it did some of the legwork for me.
Yeah. I'm really interested in hearing what you guys have to say because as a person that does not use social media to gain clientele in the chair, there's so many people that do and they want to know how to do it. It's just like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? So some of the things that I heard you all say, and hopefully I can echo it the right way, is like you said, Delmar, post with purpose and knowing who to speak to, right? Now, what if that person is a young barber that doesn't know who they want? They just want anybody, right? Like, well, how do you post with purpose in that scenario? If you are someone that is trying to have a price increase, right? That's what you care about at this moment is, man, I need to go up on my prices. How do you post with purpose in that regard? So different scenarios, different reasons, always have to have a purpose, but how do you know who you're trying to talk to? I'll shoot that to you, Dexter.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think you can really do both of those things in one video. For instance, when I think of a consultation video, that accomplishes both things because you really, if a barber doesn't know who they want to target or whatever, then I encourage you to think about your favorite haircuts or haircuts that you enjoy doing, or look at your clientele now. If you cut 50 people in a week and 35 of those people get a low fade, or 35 of those people are waivers, or 35 of those people like the way you do a taper, then really focus on shooting that content out there because you enjoyed doing those haircuts. So then you would want to get more people to do that, right? And get that from you. So there's that. So if you do consultation about that, then you're really building your clientele the way you want to. You have control of that. And then second of all, it pushes other people who do want that haircut but don't have you, and then they can come in and book with you in regards to that. So I think consultation videos do that really well. Another video type that does do that really well are voiceovers. That's when a barber is talking about a problem, right? They're saying like, I think one that's really popular right now is, this is my barber, or this barber, my client drove like so-and-so to get a lineup for me. He's never gotten a lineup before. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's posting with a specific target in mind. You're focusing on that lineup, someone who really wants a lineup. And someone's going to stay for that video that's 20, 30, 40 seconds long if they're interested. I'm like, all right, dude, did this dude get this dude crispy? And if so, man, where do I book, right? So it's I think that those videos do really well to not only grow your viral videos and whatever, but it also helps with you building your clientele. And then moving forward from that, you can scale your prices once the numbers are right. And I can go into more details about that if you want to as well. I just wanted to leave that open.
Yeah, no, I think what you guys are saying is really, really key. You and Delmar said it, and I want to just highlight it, is when you think about posting with purpose, you are really, really posting what you want, right? Like you're posting the thing that you want to do more of. Am I understanding that correctly? Like, so if you are trying to get more clients, more customers or something like that, and you are posting, say you're a person that does not know how to do shear cuts well, and then because you did one shear cut really decently in your mind, you want to post that, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna post that so that people can see I can cut shear cuts as well. But that's not what you are good at, or it's not even something you enjoy. It took you an hour and 45 minutes to do it, all of that stuff. Don't post that, because you honestly don't really want more of that. You just wanted to flex for a little bit and say I can do it.
I got a beef with that.
Okay. Well, what's your beef with it then?
Because I would say, so if I'm a person who is interested in wanting more shear cuts with the fade, but I don't do a lot of them, if I take the few people that I do have and I want more of them, I might record the work, create the content, and then post it. Although it may take me longer, it's taking me longer because I don't do it enough. That's my beef. But that's
because you want more shear cuts. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah. But if you a person who posting shear cuts, but that's not what you really want, then don't post that.
Yeah. Because that's my thing that's what I'm hearing from you both. The things that you put out is what you will attract.
Right.
So put out what you want so that you can get what you want. You can live the way that you want. You can go to work and be happier if you're getting the type of client. So the term that you guys were using is you'll be able to find your clients. But really, you're not finding your clients. You're being attractive to the clients that you want. So you're putting yourself in the position to be attractive. So once somebody finds you, then the booking process is easy. If you have a easy booking process. But my point is that people are online already. They're looking up stuff all the time.
They shopping, and sometimes
they're going to be shopping for barbers, and sometimes they're not shopping for barbers, but they see something because they may follow other barbering stuff, and you pop up in their feed, and if it's something that they like, they'll follow you, like they'll come after you. So you're not really trying to go on social media to find people. You're trying to put yourself in the environment to be found. Am I hearing you guys correctly?
Yeah, 100%. I think I definitely can see where you're going with that. Like you're putting yourself out there, and you are attracting people. You want to attract people that you are, but you're putting yourself out there so that you can find those clients. You know what I mean? So I think it does go both ways. But yes, you're right. Like you're trying to attract that specific clientele and have more control of your business by doing that.
Yeah.
Just like any other business. So if I'm a person who is really into tailor-made suits, I'm going looking on social media for tailor-made suits, companies that make tailor-made suits. I might type in the hashtag tailor-made suits. So it's kind of like the same thing with barbering, but on the other side of that, so for me personally, I don't care to do designs. So I don't post designs. I don't really care at this point in my career to cut a lot of kids. So I don't create content that have kids in it. So that's not what I want. So I don't post that. That's not what I want to attract, I should say.
100%. Yeah. You hit the nail right on the head. Both of you guys.
That's right. We nail hitters.
Construction workers.
Right. No, that's super good. So I do want to see if you don't mind, Dexter, sharing a little bit more about the value of the new era barbering, and what a person can kind of get from this community. I noticed that you talk about the free community, where from what I've experienced, Daniel does not speak about the free community. So how does that work? And if somebody wanted to understand a little bit more about the new era barbering, what would they want to know?
Yeah. So I think 100% of it is really where do you see yourself, right? Like what do you want to do with your career? And some people do want to grow their career and grow their barber business, but they don't want to do it with social media. So then I would say with the new era of barbering and the elevated mentorship program, which is the paid program, that's probably not the route you want to take. If that's not something that you're really wanting to pursue or you have a passion about, then don't necessarily go that route. But I think there is still a lot of value that can be found in the new era community, and that's the free group. You can definitely, I think the number one thing that the community really helps you with is what we were talking about earlier, is you're surrounding yourself with a better group of people, of winners, of people who want to accomplish the same goal as you. And that really helps motivate you. Number two, it's a free resource. You know what I mean? You learn the basics of finances. You learn the basics of how to record a video. And it's really what the New Era group is to help barbers understand, like, you can go this route. And if you would like more help going this route, then you can go and join the elevated mentorship and paid route. And it's kind of like a test and feeler for that. So there's a lot of value that's added in there. But I would probably say the number one value that I find with the New Era community and the elevated mentorship is that mindset is really changing and understanding that mindset. As we know, the brain and the mind is a powerful thing, and it can be very limiting with whatever our thoughts were prior, or however our background is. And what it is what we talked about earlier, is you kind of have that self-awareness and realize, I can make this own path for myself. It might be harder, it might be uncomfortable, but I can, if I set my mind to it, I can accomplish it. And I think that's something that Daniel does really well. Say what you want about his tactics on how you go about that and everything like that, but knowing him personally, I know that he really preaches you have to master your mind first, and then you can master everything else. All that stuff will be easy. And I'm a believer that you have to master spiritually your mind, and then you can grow into all these other different areas as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the power of thought and the ability to control where thoughts go is it's a skill at some point, and then at another point it's an art, because you have to be able to ebb and flow and realize that your brain is a conveyor belt. It's going to send you thoughts all the time, but there's a difference between your brain and your mind. And that's one of the biggest things that I think was a huge nugget for me as growing up, is understanding the difference between your brain and your mind. Like, your brain is going to send you 1,000 thoughts. I think it's like 70,000 thoughts a day. But your mind is what you choose to focus on. And so when you think about the environment that you put yourself in, that's why I talk so much about your ability to choose what you're going to do, right? Like, at the end of the day, one of the ministers at my church, they always speak about how you are a soul, and the soul is the decision maker. And if you realize that the soul is a decision maker and your body is just going to send you emotions, then you have the ability to override emotion. You can say to yourself, you know what, hey, I do feel this way, but I'm going to do this, anyway, whatever it is. And when you
don't have to let it manifest.
Yeah, you don't have to let it manifest, or you can overcome whatever your emotions or your thoughts are saying, and you can decide, say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym today. And some things that take a little bit more effort, like you might not be able to quit smoking right away, but if you put your mind to it and you say, you know what, I'm gonna discipline myself in some way, shape, or form, so that you can get yourself out of the environments where smoking or whatever it is that you don't want to do is easy, then you're putting yourself in the best position to be successful. And when you think about this industry, you think about being a barber, you think about being a beautician, you think about being in a massage, whoever, like you are, when you think about this industry and you think about being a business owner is the decision maker in a business. An employee is not. And so you have to realize, if you're stuck in an employee mindset, then you'll be a victim of the circumstances that are around you. But if you switch your perspective, like Daniel was talking about, and realize that you're an owner of your own future, you're an owner of your destiny, you're an owner. Now, you can't control all things. Don't think I'm not saying you're God. You're not. But you do have the ability to decide what you're going to put put your energy into. You do have the ability to decide what you're going to focus on, what you're going to use your brain power for, what are you going to allow your emotions to take you. All of that stuff you do control. And when you start to understand that you have the power to control it, then you can start to make a lot better decisions, because now you can choose the environments that you want to bring your mind into so that you can fortify your mind to be better in whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, 100%. Wow. That's awesome, bro.
Greatly said.
Yeah.
I pick up my mic and drop it.
I know, right?
No, it's relationships like this, Dexter, that I feel like are going to be long lasting conversations. You have a lot of different programs that are out there. You have the Elevated Mentorship Program that is done by Daniel. You got Chris Basio, you got Tomb 45, and the Six Figure Barber Mentorship Program. I have a program that's coming out called the Level Up Program for barber and beauty professionals. There's so many different things. You're doing your own thing. What's the name of your program? Or are you just an ambassador? I shouldn't say just. Are you an ambassador for Elevated Mentorship?
Yeah, correct. So yeah, I'm helping with like you said, Daniel doesn't really focus too much on that free group. So that's kind of what I'm head charging with a fellow coach of mine, Cito.
Okay, beautiful. There's so many different resources for you all that are barber and beauty professionals that are trying to grow. Take advantage of something. Yeah. You know, don't sit there and be a forever student of, like, you're just always learning but never taking action. That's one of the things that I speak about is the level up mindset. Like, if you're trying to level up, that means to take action. It doesn't mean to sit there and think and always stay stuck inside of a growth mindset. A growth mindset will keep you limited because you're going to always be stuck with analysis paralysis. You're going to survey everything and always trying to figure out what can happen and what can go wrong if you take
you think yourself out of it.
Yeah, you're going to think yourself right out of growing, which is, so get into the level up mindset, focus on learning how to take action, do your research, of course, but do something so that you can grow, do something so that you can change and not get stuck in a scenario that you don't want to be in. Some people want to be behind the chair for the rest of their days. Some people don't. Some people want to be behind the chair, but not obligated to it. That's where I'm at. I don't want to be obligated to the chair, but I love being behind it. I love my relationships that I have. But I do not want to be stuck to where I want to go on vacation and I can't. So therefore I chose to level up. You know what I mean? So it's the same different things with you. Like, there's certain events from your church that you might want to be able to attend. When you're stuck to the chair, you don't feel comfortable saying, hey, I'm going to take this weekend off and I'm going to a convention or I'm going to a whatever. You don't feel comfortable doing those different things. But when you feel like you're uncomfortable in your state that you're in and you have a frustration, you fix that when you start to level up, when you start to take action. So I think this is a good note to end on. Dexter, I'm gonna let you close us out along with Delmar. I'll give Delmar one, go ahead, you say one thing, but let Dexter close us out, man. He's been dropping so many gems today. It's only fitting that he allows us to elevate off of him.
Yeah, no, I appreciate this episode, man. This was a very informative episode.
Yeah.
Appreciate meeting you, Dexter. Appreciate you coming on our platform, taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of the Elevated Barbers Podcast. I'm gonna hand the mic off to you, my friend.
Yeah, well, I would just say this, man. You guys are two fantastic men, and you guys' family are honored to have you guys. And what you guys are doing for the barbering might go unnoticed for a little bit, but I promise you guys keep going where you guys are. You guys are going to do great things. I know that God's going to bless you guys wherever you guys go. And I'm just so thankful and humbled that I get to be here with you guys. And I'm looking at you guys. You guys are inspiring to me. Sometimes it's surreal to me being 26 years old and where I'm at. Like, if I pictured myself 4 years ago, I'd be like, no way I'm going on a podcast for barbering.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying the path that God has allowed me to take, and I'm really appreciative of it. And if I were, I guess, to close in with a gem or whatever, if I were to say one thing that really stuck to me with what you said, Brad, is a lot of people get stuck in that growing mindset and not applying an action. And that's the most important thing, is physically, not just mentally learning. If you learn how to make $1 million, but then you don't do anything to learn, you're not going to get that $1 million.
Right.
And whether it's this program and Basio's program or your program or whatever program there are, or even influencers that you're surrounded with in the barber industry or in the cosmetology industry, oftentimes we as individuals, we like to just stick with the people that we click with. But I would like to challenge the thought that you can go to a Daniel that you don't necessarily vibe with, and you can still learn lessons from him and spit out the bones, if you will. Grab the meat, spit out the bones. And that's one thing that has been something that I try to apply to my life as much as possible. Is I want to learn from the people that I aspire to be. I try to learn from the people that are right there where I'm at and learn from their mistakes and to learn from their successes. And even the people that are not in the same path of me or that I don't really necessarily click with, I can look at their life and learn about what I would like to do or what I don't want to do for sure. But there's always room to learn from every single aspect and from different people. You just have to look hard enough and challenge yourself to do that.
Man, one thing before we end, I heard, because Dexter reminded me of this, one thing I heard an entertainer say, he said, we don't have to be friends to do business. Mm-hmm. That's a true statement. Like you said, Dexter, like we might not necessarily click, but it don't have to stop me from doing business with you. Stop me from learning from you. Like I can learn either positive stuff from you or I can learn what not to do, but I still can learn.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and if you choose to learn, you'll never lose. Like it's impossible to lose if you look at any experience that you go through and you realize that you can learn. So this was outstanding. I mean, this should go viral. It should go viral. But whether it goes viral or not, the substance that was provided today on Elevated Barbers Podcast, so I hope you guys felt those gems. Drop some comments. Make sure that you like, subscribe, turn your notifications on so that when we drop new episodes and we drop these gems that you are able to catch them. I think that this is a good way to close on, and we are out.
Peace.
1, 2.